This is the Begin Within podcast, where we believe real, lasting health and fitness requires you to start inside before you work out. I'm your host, Nate Slegger, and I'm here to show you behind the scenes of fitness. You already know exercise is good for you, but what about all the other things in life that affect your fitness? If you're looking for extra motivation to get started or to make sure you keep going, this is the place for you.
Produced by BeginWithin.fit.
Improving health is about so much more than just losing weight. But I realize weight loss might be the goal that brought you here to the Begin Within podcast. That's why I wrote my latest book, 5 Ways to Stop Wrecking Weight Loss, to reveal the 5 areas that I see are most overlooked by the people that I work with who want to lose weight. Each one of the chapters in this free ebook describes that specific area that you need to focus on to improve your health and get great permanent results. And it also links back here to episodes of the podcast where we've had experts on the show talking about that specific area. So you can benefit from those previous episodes while you're learning about how to maximize the results that you're after. You can get your free copy of my ebook, 5 Ways to Stop Wrecking Weight Loss, by going to beginwithin.fit/ebook or going to the link in the show notes. Now is a great time to do a little multitasking while you're listening to the start of this episode. Head over to grab your free copy of my book, 5 Ways to Stop Wrecking Weight Loss. If you missed the URL, here it is again, beginwithin.fit/ebook. Or there is a link in the show notes for you. Grab your copy, and now let's get on with today's episode. My guest today is Errin Smith. She is the host of the We Crave Summit, and she is here to tell her story and how she got the summit started. And we're going to talk about the huge topic of emotional eating. So a few things that I want you to listen for. First of all, we are going to talk about a phrase that she uses, numbing out with food. As you listen, I want you to see how that resonates with you. If, as she's talking, you are connecting with what she's saying. And then most importantly, we are going to talk about some of the most important first steps that you can take in order to begin healing from emotional eating. Here is my interview with Errin Smith.
All that I was looking at was health and fitness, and I wasn't looking at the emotional side of health and emotional health and boundaries and self-care and awareness of all the things that most people don't talk about in the fitness space, and how you're living your life and handling stress and, just all the stuff underneath that nobody talks about in the fitness industry. That's what basically brought it to a domino effect of, because I thought keto was, by the way, are we recording? Should I just hold off?
We're rolling.
Okay.
We are rolling.
Do you want me to get into it? Yeah. It was when, being in holistic health for 15 years, some biohacking, health optimization, I knew all the protocols, all the health stuff, all the how to get healthy and all the diets, keto, vegetarian, intermittent fasting, vegan, just all these, and I would try them all. And then, I was so stressed out from my job and so depleted. I do beach sprints in the morning and then just, a spin class at night and work 12 hours a day and just, I would do that. And then I get so depleted and I would do saunas, and just sweat and then go work a whole bunch and then travel. And then I would just be depleted. Then I got, into keto because keto was you got to try keto. So I lost my period for a year and tried keto and I was like, I feel amazing. And then I took keto and I basically just went all in on keto. I kind of go beast mode, like a lot of us do in our workouts. And I went overboard with it. I just used it as an excuse to numb out with food because I was like, well, it's organic and it's healthy and it's keto, so I can eat all the things. I can eat a pint of ice cream and I can eat, like have like, 6 bulletproof coffees a day and just I can have all this food because it's keto. So
Mhm.
it doesn't make you fat. And then and when really it was just me numbing out going, I just want to eat all the things. I'm a stressed out mess. And I got to a point, I remember I was literally on the phone and someone FaceTimed me and it popped like a photo of me, like a reflection in the FaceTime.
Mhm.
And I was like, what is happening to me? I am at the height of my career, and yet I am the most miserable, stressed out, gained 30 pounds multiple times, um, did a lot of shame fasting to get that weight off. And that was my rock bottom of I know better and I'm still doing this. I know all the protocols, all the things. I've tried everything in the health space, and yet I look like a stressed out absolute wreck and I'm puffy and bloated and inflamed. What's happening to me? And I was like, I'm getting to the bottom of this. This is not me. Um, and so I decided to interview all the experts that I've been working with for 15 years and getting to the bottom of what's underneath emotional eating. And that's what brought me to What We Crave. So it was basically just a long haul of stress, every diet you can imagine, every protocol, trying everything, and not paying attention to any of the emotional health, like zero. And that's I think what the fitness industry is missing, and the health space in certain areas, they're missing there. It's all about the diet and the calories and
Mhm.
the weights, but they're not looking at anything else. And that's what led me to the emotional eating that totally tanked me for sure. Yeah.
Wow. So you said the things that fitness isn't talking about.
Yeah.
Um, what are some of the biggest things if you could
Yeah.
summarize them? What are the things we're not talking about?
Well, and I mean, granted, fitness, I'm a huge fitness fanatic and I'm grateful for the fitness space. I'm grateful for having information about the benefits of weight training, and I mean just incredible things come from fitness. But they don't talk about how's your sleep? How's your gut health? How's your stress levels? How's your trauma? How is what's going on in your home life? How's your marriage?
Mhm.
How like what have you been through in your life that keeps coming up in your relationships in your life that causes you to want to numb out, to want you to watch Netflix and just drink a bunch of alcohol? What are the things that you're not looking at that are still in the way? So um because I interviewed Drew Manning, who he was
Mhm.
has his own Fit to Fat to Fit. I don't know if you've heard of that, but
Yep.
he talks about emotional health all the time. You could be the fittest in the world, and yet you are just an absolute wreck on the inside because you're not looking at other things that you need to look at. And no one's talking about emotional health. No one's talking about it. I know that um, for me, I thought I was following everything correctly and lifting weights and doing all the things. And then I interviewed Trisha Nelson, and she's like, "You don't have an eating problem, you have a living problem. You don't have I didn't have boundaries with work. I'd work till 4 a.m. I'd get up and then go get up and train at 7 a.m. because I had to get it in, and I would stress my body out. And not a lot of people in the fitness industry are talking about how are you living your life? Like when you're done at the gym, what else is going on that's causing you to want to numb out, or numb out in whatever way that is: food, alcohol, movies, shopping. It really gets into all the other tentacles in your life. It's I put myself in a 30 grand worth of debt just to buy the things I wanted to buy, just to make myself feel better, and when really it was just I wasn't looking at the way I was living my life. And it was a lot of boundaries, and it was a lot of putting myself last, and it was a lot of uh how I saw myself from a self-respect, worthiness, like just, I would drive myself into the ground. And that has a huge effect on your outcome for fitness, and
Yeah,
it's because emotions are invisible. We tend to not talk about it. It's not a macro, but it's the biggest macro of them all.
I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So how'd you find the answers? How did you, I mean, you've obviously come to realize there's a lot of things that we're not talking about. I guess for you at that point, was it were those things starting to become clear? The way I'm feeling is because I'm not dealing with this stuff, or did you
No,
find those answers down the line?
I was so, you know how they always say awareness is the first step?
Yeah.
I had no awareness because I was Miss Health Nut, Miss Fitness Fanatic Health Expert. And I was just in denial. I didn't want someone to call me out and be like, girl, you're not looking at all this other stuff. So it took me, 15 years of, sales life, hustler mode, go kill yourself, go put everybody else first, go do all the things first, go, basically just go drive yourself into a big ditch, mentally, physically, emotionally. That it took me that many times. Sometimes you just have to get there and then you finally go, something's not working. And it was,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you saw my face. It was like a puffy, bloated, stressed out mess. I actually look young. I'm 42. I look younger than I did back then in my, mid 30s because of the stress and the inflammation. And I just remember taking so many photos of my face going, I'm going to figure this out. I don't know what's going on, but I'm figuring this out. And turns out it has all the things that have nothing to do with food.
Mm-hmm.
We're craving something so much deeper. So basically, I just realized through putting on the summit with, what we crave, that we're craving a connection to ourselves, and we completely have lost it. We've lost it through so many different ways, but that's the biggest thing, is we've just lost a connection to ourselves and we have to get it back. So we're ultimately craving the connection to ourselves again, to feel whole and to feel peace and to feel worthy and to feel loved. And again, that hitting rock bottom will do that to you, because you get tired of it. After I
Mm-hmm.
had, emotional eating, it's the hardest thing in the world, because you have to eat every day. You have to
Right.
eat every day. So it's like a cigarette smoker trying to get off cigarettes, and they have to smoke every day. And that's why it's I think the biggest thing that's kind of the silent thing that nobody's talking about is, if you're numbing out with food, you're disconnected in a way that, only you can figure that out and bring yourself back to it. And that's what the summit's all about, is just, here's all the ways, here's what's underneath emotional eating, and here's all the things that you can do. And everybody knows what they need next. Because for me, it wasn't like, oh, here's the answers. It was a long, deep journey of, pulling myself out of my mess and doing one thing at a time to get myself back on track. And everyone knows what they need to do, just the first step. It's different for everybody, but that's essentially what the summit does, is just give you all the things that are underneath emotional eating to bring you to what do you need to do next. And everyone's bio-individual. I think that's another thing the fitness
Mm-hmm.
industry doesn't talk about, is everybody's different. Everyone has different stress levels, different lives, different traumas, and you got to do what's best for you in your season, in your life. Because some people may not be able to go lift weights at 5 a.m. They're going to have to do a gentle walk. So yeah, it's different for everybody.
Wow. You use that phrase. I want to talk about the summit, but first, use the phrase numbing out
Yeah.
a handful of times. And I've seen that, in your bio on your website. Tell me a little bit about that. Like how does
Yeah.
that show up? What's that like?
Yeah.
I
Numbing
mean,
with
and I'm
food.
asking because I
Yeah.
probably am familiar with it. I'm just curious if
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Well, for me, I'll show you how it was for me. It was, my boss calls me and I have a visceral response, complete, like, neck breaks out. You go into fight or flight, oh, they're calling me and I do not want to deal with them. It's that like, I don't want to deal with this. And the stress that you feel, it just creates this absolute fight or flight. And as soon as I would get off the phone with them, I would be literally shaking. And this was 2 years of dealing with a boss like this, that I had no boundaries. That was on me. It actually wasn't, they're not the jerk. I was the one with the boundary issue. And I just remember I would be shaking and viscerally, like I just got in a car accident, like just out of
Mm.
it. And I would go straight to the fridge and be like, where's the food? Because I had to do something with the emotions, because I didn't know how to process. I didn't know how to process emotions. I didn't know how to have boundaries. So for me, it was anytime I had stress, I would reach for the food. So long day at work, 12-hour, 16-hour day of just sitting all day in a high stress mode, just being yelled at all day, basically. And talked down to, verbally abused, like really bad stuff. Again, that was on me to not stand up for myself. But Um, I would go, it'd be 7 o'clock and I go to the restaurant. I go to True Food Kitchen because it was healthy and organic. And I would eat for probably, I'd have the huge grass-fed beef burger, sweet potato. Nothing's wrong with that at all. But I would also have the squash pie, and I'd also have a cauliflower crust pizza and a glass of wine for an appetizer. And then I would, get something to go later at midnight because I'd be working till 2 a.m. So that was, for me, it was just my way to cope and soothe because I was so unhappy and I needed something to soothe, and food was my vice. So it's basically, some people have Netflix, some people alcohol, other, there's all kinds of vices, but for me it was food. And I had to soothe, and I didn't have the tools to soothe then. I didn't have the tools to soothe at that time. I didn't know anything. So I turned to food because I got wired at a very young age to eat all the time. So that's how they come together, is just a lot of wiring and a lot of not knowing the tools to handle stress.
Yeah. Well, you use it as a tool, but maybe it's not the best way, but it's what you had at the time.
Right.
Got you through.
Yeah.
Okay.
That happened a lot.
Yeah.
Like
Thanks for
10,
sharing that.
15 years of doing that. Yeah. And then going, you know what? I'm still doing this and I can't do this alone. And I was like, if I can just figure out why my brain eats all the things, even though I'm not hungry and my stomach's just full of food, but I still want to eat the thing. If I can just figure out why my brain does this, then I can actually learn and understand and change my brain. And then again, that's what the summit was for. I had those tools. I learned all those tools. And once you get that education of what's actually really going on, next time you're like, oh, I'm having a response. I'm going to go get my toolbox full of tools and I'm going to go, move this emotion out of my body and handle what I need to handle in a different way. Yeah.
Awesome. Could we talk about the summit a little bit? Now it's come up a couple of times, just how it got started and where it's at now and how people can become part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, it started when I was at my rock bottom and I was like, I got to educate myself. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that need it too. Cause if I'm struggling and I'm this health nut, fitness fanatic, and I'm struggling, there's got to be a lot of women struggling, men, whoever, and I just started recording interviews, and then COVID hit, and it was the epidemic of emotional eating, I think, of our lifetime. And that's when I launched it. And then ever since then, I've been adding more interviews, and it's basically 50 plus interviews of just what is at the root of emotional eating. What are we actually really craving? And it's all the stuff that is underneath the food. And I'm obsessed with learning about this. It is just absolutely my joy. And it pulls me every day to get this information out, because I just think mental health and emotional health is, it's massive. And there's not a lot of people that are bringing that side. And I just feel so called to help people with it, because again, you got to eat every day. So it's one of the hardest addictions to get out of. And so it's free to watch. You just go to whatwecrave.com. It's free to watch. And of course, if you want to buy it for your home library, like you would your favorite movie, you totally can, because there's a ton of information, but it's free to watch. And that's it. So yeah, I just did it.
Oh, awesome.
I did it for that reason alone. And it's just, it's packed full of information. So I'm really proud of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. It sounds like very valuable work. And I would agree. We need more of it. So
yeah,
keep it up. What would you
Thanks.
say, Errin, to someone who's listening and they're relating to where you were at when this got started for you? So the idea of numbing out with food. What would you recommend as the best first step for them to begin healing?
Yeah. It's a great question, because everybody's different, right? And everyone's in their own kind of world. But for me, I'll just give you the quick top hacks that were amazing for me. One was actually getting deep sleep. And a lot of my practitioners I work with were like, girl, you realize if you just sleep, your cortisol would drop, you could burn fat, you can get the results you want, you can get out of this stressful, bottomless pit eating cycle, because your ghrelin leptin's all messed up because you're not sleeping. I was so stressed out, it would keep me up at night. So I interviewed Barton Scott, one of my good friends with Upgraded Formulas. He's got a magnesium that I used, and it was the best sleep of my life. Still to this day, I recommend it to everyone. I don't get paid to say this. I literally just want to help, because when you get a good night's sleep, it is a game changer in every way possible, from just feeling good, cravings go down, your inflammation, your cortisol, your hunger, your hormones. I mean, literally it affects everything. You could be the healthiest person. If you're not sleeping, good luck getting anywhere in life, because you're just, it'll block you in every way. So that is what I'm all about, is health optimization. So one product, get a ton of benefits. It's a magnesium that actually gets into the cell. A lot of magnesiums aren't small enough to get where they need to go. So this is just high quality, practitioner grade. It's not found at Costco. And so you get the results speak for themselves. So that's always my first hack, is sleep like it's your job. Prioritize sleep hygiene, like be in bed by 10. That is the magic hour to get in bed by. So, cause we'll stay up till 2, 3 a.m. sometimes living life. That's cool. But that will definitely, it'll affect every area in your life. When you hit in your 30s and 40s, it's not, man, once I started prioritizing sleep, it was the gateway to weight loss for me, and inflammation for sure, and cravings going way, way, way down. It's amazing.
Awesome.
It's just magical. I don't know if you feel the same way, but that was one of my biggest
I'm
hacks.
big on sleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
We love sleep here on the Begin Within Health show. You betcha.
Oh yeah. Sleep, baby. Sleep all the way.
Yes.
And then second one for me that was my gateway to health, and just cravings, was adding a superfood powder into your shakes, smoothies, whatever, into your life. I used to work my first sales rep job, straight commission, stressed me out a whole bunch, but I was in love with the product. Still to this day, I've never found anything better. They're a company out of San Diego called Nano Greens. It's the highest quality, most potent, best tasting, organic, non-GMO superfood powder I've ever found in my life. And you add, one scoop is 50 ingredients and 10 servings. So you're getting a mega dose of super fuel. So that's really what your body is craving, is just fuel and nutrition and minerals and antioxidants. And when you put some high powered octane fuel in your gas tank, you will perform better. Your brain will be on fire. You will crush life, and your cravings will go way down, because your body's finally getting what it needs. And so you just don't crave sweets. You just stop craving junk. Like, you're just like, I'm good. Like you just feel like your gas tank's full and you don't need to put anything else in it. In addition to eating whole foods, that's another hack for cravings, is whole food, organic whole food, not Whole Foods Market, whole foods, like one ingredient cooking. I used to eat snacks all the time when I would travel, but it was keto snacks, and it was organic, or it was vegan. And so it was healthy. And the snacky processed food, even if it's healthy, I would always snack and never be full. And my friend, I remember a long time ago, one of my coaches / friends said, girl, if you just eat whole food, you realize your cravings will go down like 1,000,000%. And I was like, that's too easy. Like, it's gotta be harder than that. Honest truth, life-changing. If you get like some grass-fed beef, some sweet potatoes, some kale, or a nice salad, or whatever vegetable with some olive oil and some sea salt, like, you will be so nourished. Your body's like, thanks, I got what I needed. I don't, you might crave a little dark chocolate, but you're not craving. It's just, you're nourished. And that's really what your body's craving, is nourishment. So those things are massive, massive, massive game changers. Another one is your gut health. Because I know a lot of people in the fitness industry, they're drinking the protein shakes and the protein bars that have just stuff in it that just rips your gut up. Alcohol, sugar, antibiotics, stress, all rips your gut up. And if you don't have gut health, you will not have sleep. You will not be able to burn fat. You won't be able to detox. You will be, the gut's the center of the universe for your health. So fixing your gut is massive. Two amazing products that I love is Ion, Intelligence of Nature, with Dr. Zach Bush's product. Phenomenal. Clinically proven to seal up all the leaks in the gut and fix leaky gut. You can check him out. It sells itself. I've been taking it. Major reduction in inflammation and the bloatedness, where I looked 9 months pregnant. That all went miraculous in like 3 months, like bloating way down, just because you're finally getting to the root cause. Also got rid of stress too, of course, and stopped eating so much keto stuff. But That's a game changer. Also, Megaspore probiotic. If you're looking for an amazing probiotic, Megaspore is phenomenal. You get those two things into your gut, and you get, maybe this is TMI, but you get the best bathroom experiences in the world where you just are like, I feel amazing. Like it will change your life, because that digestion, when you get constipated and you can't go to the bathroom, it's the worst feeling in the world. You can't move those toxins out. You're bloated, and that gut brain connection, if your brain isn't functioning, your gut isn't functioning, you're going to be endlessly having cravings and trying to get dopamine hits, because your dopamine, all your serotonin and feel good chemicals are made in your gut. So you have to repair your gut, move that out, and then fix those leaks and start getting that gut brain connection reestablished. And it's just magic. So that's a fire hose, but those are my top recommendations.
Awesome.
For sure.
That's awesome. Good. And I appreciate the specific recommendations that you have too, the work you've done trying to find the best products that can get you there.
Yes. One more, a teaspoon or a capful of apple cider vinegar before every meal, like 3 times a day. Most epic, again, relating to the gut and like bowel movements, like epic, but also cravings and digestion, like go just game changer as well. Like if that's one of the top things, that if let's say you can't buy supplements, apple cider vinegar is like $3 a bottle, capful before every meal. I don't know if you've tried it, but game changer for cravings. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. No, thank you. Cool. Remind us again the best way to get in touch with you and follow your work.
Yeah, just whatwecrave.com is where the summit's at. I'm rebranding it right now, so it's about to go live in a few weeks. So until then, there's clips on YouTube, or there is my Instagram, which is that health chick. There's lots of clips on there to keep you your soul nourished until I can relaunch in a few weeks. But yeah, that's it. It's pretty easy, and just it's there for the taking. So I'm just happy to put this information out and give people a ton of information that's actually deep, good stuff that actually has value, that will actually get rid of the issue versus just kind of perpetuate it. A lot of people in the fitness industry, I feel like they kind of, they only give you like a little bit and they don't give you all of it. And so for me, I was like, I want to give everybody all of it. Just give everybody what they need, because it's so needed right now, especially from COVID, and just so needed. And just human connection, I think, is vital too, So it's a way to help with that too. Yeah.
Awesome. Errin Smith, thank you so much for your work. Thanks for being here on the Begin Within Health show.
Thanks, Nate.
I want to thank Errin so much for being here on the Begin Within Health show, and for sharing her story with us, being so open and honest and vulnerable with us, and sharing her journey. Now, if you are someone, as you're listening, who resonated with what you were hearing and thinking, yes, that's me, I want to tell you, it's okay. Give yourself a little bit of compassion, a lot of compassion. It is okay. Like I said to Errin, I truly, truly believe, and I say this with clients who have had very difficult struggles with emotional eating. They know when it got started. They know how it got started, sometimes all the way back in childhood. And just simply just say, hey, it's okay. You did the best you could with the tools that you had at your disposal at the time to deal with the challenges that you were facing, right? And none of us can say, oh, that's not that big of a deal. You shouldn't have been so stressed out about that. I wasn't this or that. And in some cases, it was, very traumatic experiences that people come from, and they end up turning to food as a way to cope with the powerful emotions. First and foremost, there's so much space and the need to give space for compassion in that whole discussion. And I think whether that's something you relate to, having a more traumatic past, something that, it might be more commonly agreed upon as some very serious trauma, and as a result, turn to food, or if it's just, the day-to-day stress and you turn to food in order to cope with it, it's okay. It is okay. You're doing the best you can with the tools that you have at the time. And the thing is, we realize that using food in that way ends up making matters more complicated in a lot of instances. So what do we need to do? Well, first and foremost, like Errin mentioned, we need to develop some awareness of it. We need to start noticing what's happening so that we can, with that awareness, begin to be empowered to make some different decisions. And I would say this for anyone who's working on overcoming emotional eating, it's very difficult to just flip a switch, like Errin mentioned, because food is there. Food is ever present. We need food to live. So if it's been a tool that's been used in order to help us emotionally, it's very difficult to just say, boom, I'm done with it. I'm over it. I'm not going to use food anymore for dealing with my negative emotions, right? So it has to be done gradually. It has to be done starting with awareness and then gradually making different choices. And a step that we've talked about here on the show before is just simply this: beginning to learn alternate ways to deal with those emotions. Not all of a sudden saying, oh, I'm done with food. I'm not going to use that anymore for emotional reasons. I'm not going to emotionally eat anymore. We might always turn to food. It does work, right? All of us, we might use food in emotional settings from time to time, either to feel good when we're already feeling good, or to feel good when we're not feeling so good, or to numb when we're not feeling so good, right? But how big is your arsenal? How big is your toolbox of tools, of other things that you can also use? And start experimenting with those other ways to deal with those negative emotions. And then, of course, addressing the cravings that our bodies do have. We've had multiple guests on the show before that have dealt with that, and it needs to be repeated over and over again, that we have to give our body what it really needs, right? And you heard it from Errin today. Our body needs nutrients. And when we have those nutritional needs really met, things start to change in terms of cravings. And that goes for sleep as well. Sleep is one of the huge, I think Errin referred to it as a nutrient, right? That we are overlooking in so many ways. And it's even in the fitness industry, sacrificing it in order to work out, or for those of us who are in the fitness industry, sacrificing it in order to work and help other people work out, not necessarily caring for the need that we have for sleep. So giving attention to good sleep hygiene and whole foods. We heard it here again. We're going to continue to hear it. Those things are not going to go away. They're not all of a sudden not going to be part of healthy living. Whole foods and good sleep are always going to be there. So if you've got a lot of tools in your toolbox already to deal more healthfully with negative emotions, awesome. What's next? Maybe it's one of those areas, right? Focusing on better sleep, focusing on more whole foods, and then breaking that down into the little tiny little steps that it will take in order for you to move in that direction toward healthier when it comes to sleep, when it comes to getting in whole foods. Thank you so much for being here with me on the Begin Within Health Show. I appreciate your time and your attention. I appreciate that you are the type of person who's concerned with becoming a better version of yourself. I'm so glad that you're here with me, and I want to celebrate you. So please, as you're listening, take a screenshot, put in your stories, and tag me, and I promise I will give you a high five, and perhaps we'll be able to start a conversation about the topic of this episode. Thank you so much as well for rating and reviewing the show and sharing it with your loved ones. Again, I appreciate you so much, and I will talk to you again soon here on the Begin Within Health Show.